The sun was dipping below the horizon, painting the desert sky in streaks of orange and purple. When my car coughed its last breath on a stretch of Nevada highway so empty it felt like the edge of the world. I'd been driving from Reno to nowhere in particular. Just away from a breakup that still stung, a job I'd quit in a haze of frustration, a life that didn't fit anymore. The old hatchback had been rattling for miles, but I'd ignored it, trusting it to hold together until I figured out where I was going. Now, smoke curled from the hood, the engine silent, and I was stranded with a dead phone and a half-empty water bottle, the nearest town a dusty memory 30 miles back. I kicked the tire, cursing my luck, as the heat of the day gave way to a creeping chill. The road stretched endlessly in both directions, flanked by scrub brush and cracked earth, no headlights in sight. I'd seen enough survival shows to know I shouldn't wander off, but sitting still felt like surrender. So I stuck out my thumb, a half-hearted gesture born more of desperation than hope. Minutes bled into an hour, the sky darkening, stars blinking awake, until twin beams finally pierced the dusk. A pickup truck, rusted red, rumbling toward me like a reluctant savior. It slowed, tires crunching gravel, and stopped a few feet away. The driver's window rolled down, revealing a man in his 50s, lean, weathered, with a gray beard and eyes that glinted under a faded cap. He leaned out, voice rough but steady. "Need a lift?" I hesitated, the warnings of a lifetime flashing through my mind. Don't get in cars with strangers, especially not in the middle of nowhere. But the alternative was a cold night with no help coming. "Yeah," I said, forcing a smile. "Car broke down. Heading anywhere with a phone or a tow truck?" He nodded, jerking his head toward the passenger side. "Hop in. I'm going that way." His tone was casual, almost too calm, but I brushed it off as desert stoicism. I grabbed my backpack from the hatchback, locked it out of habit, and climbed in. The cab smelled of oil and tobacco, the seat cracked leather under a layer of dust. A CB radio crackled faintly, its static a low hum beneath the engine's growl as we pulled onto the road. "Thanks," I said, settling in, my nerves easing as the warmth of the heater kicked in. "I'm Alex, by the way." He kept his eyes on the road, one hand loose on the wheel, the other resting on a thermos in the console. "Good to meet you, Alex," he said, and my name rolled off his tongue with a weight that made me pause. I hadn't caught a flicker of surprise, no pause to register it. Just a smooth, knowing delivery, like he'd been expecting me. I chalked it up to my imagination, the stress of the day playing tricks. "Where you headed?" I asked, fishing for conversation, something to fill the silence stretching between us. "East," he said simply, his gaze fixed ahead. "You?" "Just away," I admitted, glancing out the window at the endless dark. "Didn't plan on breaking down out here." "Things happen," he replied, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "Road's got a way of catching you when you least expect it." I nodded, unsure what to make of that, and let the hum of the engine take over. We drove for miles, the landscape unchanging, flat, desolate, punctuated by the occasional silhouette of a Joshua tree. I was about to ask how far to the next town when he spoke again, unprompted. "You grew up in Carson City, didn't you, Alex?" My head snapped toward him, a jolt running down my spine. "What?" "Carson City," he repeated, still staring at the road. "Lived there till you were, what, 16? Then you moved south. Reno, right?" I stared at him, mouth dry, my pulse thudding in my ears. "How do you know that?" He shrugged like it was nothing. "You've got that look, Nevada kid, seen it before." It didn't add up. My look couldn't tell him my hometown, my moves, my life. I shifted in my seat, the leather creaking under me. "No, seriously, how do you know where I'm from?" He glanced at me then, his eyes catching the dashboard light, sharp, unreadable. "Relax, Alex. I'm good with people. Guessed it, that's all." But it wasn't a guess. It was too specific, too exact. I forced a laugh, trying to shake the unease. "Lucky guess, I suppose. What else you got?" He didn't laugh back. "You had a dog, Max, right? Black lab. Used to run around that little yard off Stewart Street." My stomach dropped. Max had been my shadow growing up, dead 5 years now, buried in a memory I hadn't shared with anyone in ages. "Okay, that's not funny. Who are you?" "Just a driver," he said, his voice steady, almost soothing. "Name's Eli. Don't mean to spook you. I just know things sometimes." "Know things?" I pressed, my hand tightening on the door handle. "Like what? My whole damn life?" He didn't answer right away, letting the silence stretch, the CB static crackling louder. "Enough," he said finally. Enough to get by. I wanted out. Every instinct screamed to jump, to run, consequences be damned. But we were miles from anything, the desert a black void outside. "Pull over," I said, my voice shaking. "Now." "Can't do that," Eli replied, calm as ever. "Not yet. You need to get somewhere safe." "Safe," I snapped. "You're creeping me out, man. How do you know about Max? About me?" He sighed like I was a kid asking too many questions. "Let's just say I've been around, seen a lot. Some folks leave echoes, and I pick 'em up." "Echoes?" I echoed, incredulous. "What are you, psychic?" "Something like that," he said, and the way he said it, flat, certain, sent a chill through me. I scanned the cab for a weapon, a way out, but there was nothing. Just the thermos, a crumpled map, the radio spitting static. My phone was still dead, useless in my pocket. "Look," I said, forcing calm into my voice. "I appreciate the ride, but I don't need this. Drop me at the next stop, and we're done." "Next stop's close," he assured me, his eyes flicking to the rearview mirror. "You'll see." I didn't like that. Didn't like his tone, his vagueness, the way he seemed to own the situation. But I was stuck, so I sat back watching the road, counting miles in my head. The desert rolled by unchanging until headlights flared behind us, distant at first, then closing fast. Eli's jaw tightened, his knuckles whitening on the wheel. "Friends of yours?" I asked, half sarcastic, half hoping for an explanation. "No," he said, his voice low. "Not friends." The lights grew brighter. A truck or SUV gaining on us despite Eli's steady speed. My unease shifted to fear. Something was off, wrong in a way I couldn't name. "Who are they?" "Trouble," he muttered, glancing at me. "Hold on, Alex." Before I could ask why, he floored it, the pickup lurching forward with a roar. The chase was on, and I was trapped in it, a passenger to a stranger who knew too much, and a past I couldn't outrun. The truck behind us swerved, its engine a guttural snarl cutting through the night. Eli wove the pickup across the faded center line, tires squealing as he pushed the old beast harder than it wanted to go. My hands gripped the seat, the dashboard, anything to brace myself as the world tilted into chaos. "What the hell's going on?" I shouted over the noise, my voice cracking. "Keep your head down," Eli barked, his calm fracturing into something sharper. "They're not here for me." "For me!" I twisted to look back, catching a glimpse of the pursuing vehicle. A black SUV, tinted windows, no plates I could see. It was gaining, its headlights blinding in the side mirror. "Why? I don't even know you." "You don't have to," he said, eyes darting between the road and the mirror. "They've been waiting for you." "Who?" I demanded, panic clawing at my chest. "What are you talking about?" "No time," he snapped, yanking the wheel to dodge a pothole. The SUV roared closer, its bumper kissing ours with a jolt that threw me forward. Metal groaned, and I swore, my mind racing for answers. None came. Eli cursed under his breath, muttering something about too soon, then reached for the CB radio, twisting the dial until a voice broke through the static. Garbled, urgent, but unintelligible to me. "Base, this is Eli," he said, his tone clipped. "Got a tail. Need an out now." The response was a burst of static, then a woman's voice, faint but clear. "Mile marker 47. Turns on your right. Lose 'em there." Eli dropped the mic, his focus razor-sharp as the mile markers ticked by. 45, 46, 47. The SUV rammed us again, harder, the pickup fishtailing before he wrestled it back. "Hold tight," he warned, and then he jerked the wheel right, veering off the highway onto a dirt track I hadn't even seen. Dust exploded around us, the SUV's lights fading as it overshot, brakes squealing in the distance. The track was rough, jarring my teeth as we bounced over ruts and rocks. But Eli drove like he'd memorized every dip. Branches scraped the truck, the desert swallowing us whole. My heart pounded, questions piling up. Who was chasing us? Why me? How did Eli fit into this? But survival trumped curiosity. The SUV's lights didn't reappear, and after what felt like forever, Eli slowed, pulling into a clearing ringed by twisted trees. He killed the engine, the sudden silence deafening. I turned to him, breathless. "What the hell was that?" He didn't answer right away, just stared out the windshield, his face unreadable. "You're in deeper than you know, Alex." "Deeper in what?" I snapped, anger flaring over fear. "You pick me up, know my life story, and now I'm dodging some psycho truck? Explain." He exhaled, rubbing his beard. "I didn't pick you up by chance. I was sent." "Sent," I echoed, my voice rising. "By who?" "People who watch," he said, his eyes meeting mine, dark, steady, carrying a weight I couldn't fathom. "People who've been watching you a long time." I laughed, sharp and bitter, because it was too absurd to process. Watching me? I'm nobody. I sell used books. Or I did till I quit. I'm not some spy or criminal. You don't have to be, he said. It's not about what you've done. It's about what you are. What I am. I leaned closer, searching his face for a lie, a joke, anything to make this sane. What am I then? He paused like he was weighing how much to give me. A marker, a signal, something they've been tracking since you were born. I stared, my mind blanking out, then rebooting with a flood of disbelief. That's insane. You're insane. Maybe, he said, a flicker of a smile breaking through. But you're still here, and they're still coming. I wanted to argue, to demand proof, but the memory of the SUV, its relentless pursuit, the way it targeted us, silenced me. Eli climbed out, motioning for me to follow. The clearing was empty, no sign of life, just the truck and the night pressing in. He pulled a flashlight from the glove box, its beam slicing through the dark, as he led me to a slab of rock, half buried in the dirt. He knelt, brushing sand away, revealing a metal hatch rusted at the edges. "What's this?" I asked, my voice tight. "Safe spot," he said, prying it open with a grunt. A ladder descended into shadow, the air below cool and stale. "We wait here till it's clear." "No way," I said, stepping back. "I'm not going underground with you. I don't even know you." "You don't have a choice," he replied, his tone hardening. "They'll find us up here. Down there, we've got a shot." I glanced back at the track, half expecting headlights, but the desert was still. The CB crackled in the truck, the woman's voice cutting through. "Eli, they're circling back. Move." That decided it. I followed him down, the ladder cold under my hands, the hatch clanging shut above us like a coffin lid. The bunker was small, concrete walls lined with shelves, canned food, blankets, a radio spitting static. A single bulb flickered overhead, casting harsh shadows. Eli locked the hatch, then sat on a cot, pulling a map from his pocket. "We're safe for now," he said, spreading it out, "but they won't stop." "Who are they?" I demanded, pacing the cramped space. "And don't give me vague bullshit. I deserve answers." He studied me, then nodded, like he'd made a choice. "Call 'em hunters. They track people like you, markers. Folks tied to something bigger, something old. I don't know all of it, don't want to. I just get you out." "Tied to what?" I pressed, my voice echoing off the walls. "What's old? What's bigger?" He hesitated, then tapped the map, dozens of red X's scattered across Nevada, California, beyond. "These are hits. People they've taken. You're one of them, Alex. Been on their list since Carson City." I sank onto a crate, my legs giving out. "Why me?" "Dunno," he admitted. "Could be blood, could be chance. All I know is they've got your scent and they don't let go." I buried my face in my hands, the weight of it crushing me. A list? Hunters? It sounded like a bad movie, but the SUV's growl, Eli's certainty, the way he knew Max. It was real, too real. "Who sent you, then?" I asked, voice muffled. "Who's the good guy here?" "Folks who fight back," he said. "They find markers, try to keep 'em safe. Been doing it longer than I've been alive." I looked up, meeting his gaze. "And you? What's your deal?" "Me?" He shrugged. "I'm a runner. Pick up strays, get 'em to the next stop. Been at it since they pulled me out." "Pulled you out?" I asked, catching the edge in his voice. He rolled up his sleeve, revealing a scar, jagged, old, circling his forearm like a shackle. "I was a marker, too. Got away. Now I pay it back." The bulb flickered, the radio spitting a warning. "Eli, they're close. 5 miles." He stood, grabbing a rifle from a shelf, a hunting model, worn but clean. "We move soon," he said, checking the clip. "Next stop's 100 miles east. Can you handle it?" I nodded, numb, the reality sinking in. I was running, maybe for my life, with a man I barely trusted from people I didn't understand. The hatch rattled above us, a faint thud echoing down. Eli's eyes narrowed. "Too soon," he muttered, raising the rifle. The thud came again, harder, dust sifting from the ceiling. My heart raced, the bunker shrinking around me. "They found us," I whispered. "Looks like it," Eli said, his voice steel. "Stay behind me, Alex. We're not done yet." The hatch groaned, metal bending under force, and I knew, whatever knew my name, my past, my dog, was coming. And I wasn't ready. The hatch buckled with a scream of twisting steel, the sound ricocheting off the bunker's walls like a gunshot. Dust rained down, the bulb swinging wildly, shadows dancing as Eli aimed the rifle at the ladder. "Get back," he hissed, shoving me toward the shelves. I stumbled, grabbing a crowbar from a pile of tools, pathetic against whatever was up there, but better than nothing. The air thickened, a metallic tang creeping in, sharp and familiar, like the desert night gone wrong. A figure dropped through the ruined hatch, landing with a thud, boots on concrete, no hesitation. He was tall, broad, dressed in black, tactical gear, face obscured by a hood, eyes glinting behind a mask. No words, just purpose. A silenced pistol rising in his hand. Eli fired first, the rifle's crack deafening in the tight space, but the man moved, too fast, a blur, the bullet sparking off the wall. The pistol barked, a muted cough, and Eli grunted, staggering back, blood blooming on his shoulder. "Run!" he roared, firing again, the shot clipping the man's arm. I bolted for the ladder, crowbar clutched tight, but another figure landed, smaller, agile, a woman with the same masked silence. She lunged, a blade flashing, and I swung the crowbar, catching her wrist with a sickening crunch. She hissed, recoiling, but the first man was on me, his fist slamming into my chest, air exploding from my lungs as I hit the floor. Eli tackled him, the rifle clattering away, their struggle a tangle of grunts and blows. I scrambled up, gasping, the woman circling back, her knife gleaming. Adrenaline burned through me. I swung again, wild, the crowbar glancing off her shoulder. She stumbled, and I ran for the ladder, Eli's voice chasing me. "Go, Alex! East!" I climbed, hands slipping on rungs slick with dust, the bunker's chaos fading below. The hatch gaped open, the desert night spilling in, stars, cool air, freedom. I hauled myself out, rolling onto the dirt, and froze. Headlights stabbed through the dark, 2 more SUVs idling in the clearing, engines low and menacing. Figures emerged, 4, 5, all masked, moving with a predator's grace. I was surrounded, the bunker my only way back, but Eli was down there, bleeding, fighting. A crack split the air, a gunshot from below, then silence. My stomach lurched. Eli? I couldn't go back, couldn't stay. I bolted for the trees, legs pumping, the crowbar still in hand. Shouts erupted behind me, boots pounding dirt, headlights swinging as the SUVs roared to life. Branches clawed my face, my breath ragged, but I ran, the desert swallowing me into its depths. Miles blurred. Hours, maybe, my lungs burning, my mind a loop of panic and questions. Who were they? Why me? Eli's words, marker, signal, watched, spun like a broken record. The SUV's engines faded, but I didn't stop until my legs gave out, collapsing in a dry wash under a sky too vast to care. I lay there, chest heaving, the crowbar digging into my side, Eli's blood on my mind. Was he dead? Alive? I'd left him, and the guilt gnawed deeper than the fear. Dawn crept in, gray and unforgiving, the desert stretching endless around me. No sign of the hunters, no hum of engines, just silence, broken by my own ragged breathing. I checked my pockets, phone still dead, water gone, nothing but the crowbar and a map I'd grabbed from the bunker floor in the chaos. It was Eli's, red X's marking towns, roads, a path east. I traced it with a shaking finger. Next stop, a dot labeled Ely, 100 miles away. If Eli was right, safety was there. If he was wrong, I was lost anyway. I walked, the sun climbing, heat baking the earth. My mind churned. Carson City, Max, my ordinary life flipped into this nightmare. Eli's scar flashed in my memory, his story of being a marker too. Was that my fate, running, hunted until I broke or fought back? The day dragged, thirst clawing my throat, but I kept moving, the map my only anchor. By dusk, I hit a road, empty, cracked, but real. I stuck out my thumb again, a grim echo of the night before, praying for a normal ride. A sedan rolled up, an older woman at the wheel, her face kind but wary. "You okay, hon?" she asked, eyeing my dirt-streaked clothes, the crowbar I'd tucked into my belt. "Car trouble," I lied, voice hoarse. "Heading to Ely. Can you take me?" She nodded, unlocking the door. "Hop in. You look like you've had a hell of a day." I sank into the seat, relief warring with paranoia. She didn't ask my name, didn't know Max, just drove, humming to the radio. I watched her, the road, the mirrors, half expecting headlights to flare behind us. They didn't. Ely came into view, a scattering of lights against the dark, and she dropped me at a gas station with a "take care." I thanked her, clutching the map, and stumbled inside, the clerk barely glancing up as I bought water and a charger. The station's payphone worked. My phone was still dead, but I remembered Eli's CB, the woman's voice. I didn't know who to call, so I dialed Claire, my ex's sister, the only number I had memorized. She answered, groggy, surprised. "Alex, where are you?" "Ely," I said, my voice cracking. "I need help. Something's after me." A pause, then, "What, are you hurt?" "No time," I cut in. "People, hunters, they know me. I don't know why. Can you come?" She didn't hesitate. She'd always been solid, even after the breakup. "Stay put. I'm 3 hours out. I hung up, sinking onto a bench, the map creased in my hands. The clerk watched me, curious now, but I ignored him, tracing Eli's X's, wondering how many markers were left. Claire arrived at midnight, her pickup rattling into the lot. She hugged me hard, her questions tumbling out. What happened? Who's chasing you? But I couldn't explain, not fully. I showed her the map, told her about Eli, the SUV, the bunker, my voice shaking as it spilled out. She listened, eyes wide, then said, "We're getting you out of here. Home, police, something." "No," I said, firm. "East." Eli said east. There's people who can help. She argued, but my desperation won. She drove, the map guiding us toward the next X, a town called Delta. The road stretched dark and quiet, Claire's silence heavy beside me. I kept watch, expecting headlights, but none came, yet. At dawn we hit Delta, a diner glowing on the outskirts. I told Claire to wait, needing answers more than rest, and stepped inside. A woman sat at the counter, 40s, sharp-eyed, nursing a coffee. She looked up as I approached, her gaze lingering on the crowbar, the map. "You're late," she said, voice low, the same one from the CB. I froze. "You know me?" "Eli radioed," she said. "Said you'd make it. I'm Mara." Relief crashed into me. Eli was alive, or had been. "Where is he?" "Safe," she said, sliding a key across the counter. "Room 12, motel next door. Rest. We talk tomorrow." I took the key, questions burning, but exhaustion won. Claire followed me to the room, locking the door as I collapsed on the bed, the map beside me. Sleep came fast, but not peace. Dreams of Eli's scar, the masked man, my name in their mouths. I woke to Mara knocking, daylight streaming in, her face grim. "They're close," she said, no preamble. "Eli's out, but you're hot. We move tonight." "Who are they?" I demanded, sitting up, Claire beside me, tense. "Hunters," she said, echoing Eli. "Old group, older purpose. They take markers, people tied to sites, relics, things they want. You're one." "Why me?" I pressed, the same question I'd asked Eli. She pulled a photo from her jacket, me, age 10, standing by a dry well in Carson City, Max at my side. "This," she said, "you were near something they've hunted for decades. They marked you then." I stared, memory stirring, summers by that well, a hum I'd forgotten, a shadow I'd chalked up to kid fears. "What's it mean?" "Dunno yet," she admitted. "But we're fighting it. You in?" I nodded, no choice left. Running was my life now, with Claire, Mara, a war I didn't ask for. The hunters knew my name, my past, my dog, and they were coming. I'd find out why, or die trying.